Alright, hello everyone watching at home. This is Adelaide Eternal and one of our monthly tournaments. We run 3 different formats: Highlander, Legacy and Vintage in the South Australia region. And today we have round 2 of our Highlander tournament set up ready to go for you. I'm Sarvin McClinton and I'm here with Beckett Wolf.
G'day guys.
So we'll be bringing you a spicy matchup today. It's going to have, on the left, we have Cameron Bird, who's on a Reanimator list in Highlander, something you don't always see, so something nice and spicy. And on the right, we have Wes McTernan on a junk list, so obviously a typical pod clamp type.
Plain Jane junk.
That's it. That's it. We are very used to that down here in South Australia. Junk is quite a force.
Yeah, we play a lot of junk. Melbourne like to play dark band, so splashing for blue. We tend to play just traditional junk, and there's a few ways to build it. Wes is playing, your classic Siege Rhino and Blade Splicer, but he's splashing for the Dark Depths combo, so he's got Vampire Hex Mage and Knight of the Reliquary, I think, and you can go deep into those combos, or you can just sort of keep it light as an alternate win con, and I think that's what he's done. I played the Malira pod myself.
I just play the aggressive one with no combos.
They all seem to work out pretty well.
They're nicely matched. So today we have, in the Rihanna we've got a City of Brass, we've got the big Iona Shield of Emeria in the middle there, and maybe he's off to a quick, here we go, and got a bit of removal in that hand. Had a Council's Judgment I saw in the middle.
Path to Exile is one of those cards in this matchup where it's like, is this the best card ever? Or am I going to be doing it on a Grizzled brand, which has already got its 7 cards? I'm really excited to watch this this Reanimator list go, and it's interesting to watch it against that classic junk list. It's a really good list to see. It's just a very solid, consistent deck Wes is running.
Absolutely. I think the players do know each other, so I have a feeling that Wes knows that Cameron Bird is on Reanimator, and he's probably, aside from that hand possibly having no land, he's probably mulling into a Path to Exile or some kind of instant speed removal spell.
Didn't look like he had too many lands. He had that Voice of Resurgent, Council's Judgment, Path is what I saw. Didn't see a huge amount of lands.
So he's just gone for the... Here we go. So he's got a sword, he's got some land. It looks like a slow hand.
It's not great, but...
So he's opting to keep it with a scry on top. On the bottom. Okay, this is probably a bad sign if... we don't know who's on the play, though. So, okay, Cameron Bird's on the play. This is probably a very worrying position.
Yeah, I'd be scared. Cameron is running Lotus Petal and Chrome Mox, so we can have an explosive start. He's not looking to... mess around in this matchup. He's looking to just get in there, and junk typically doesn't do too well against very aggressive combo decks.
True. What do you think this Mother of Runes is going to do?
Not much at all.
How many big flying beat sticks do we have in the
I don't think
Reanimator list?
I don't think Mum's going to do a lot. I'd be siding Mum out in the coming games.
He might be able to push a bit of damage through something, but he's certainly not pushing damage through an Elesh Norn, since his board's going to be gone.
Most of what Cameron's got is just going to close the game up real quick. The slowest he's got is Platinum Angel, which sort of does the opposite. But otherwise, Sphinx of the Steel Wind, Elesh Norn, Iona, Grizzle Brand, Jin-Gitaxias, this just always going to get trumped by whatever Wes has got. So Wes has got to get in there quick. I think Wes really wanted to dork there and just...
Absolutely. This is the one reason why I don't run Mother of Runes on my list. I know that you guys do. It's got potential, big upside, really good at pushing damage through, really good at protecting creatures. But sometimes I look at it and I go, I wish that you were Llanowar Elves. Just to ramp out your Anafenza turn 2 or something like that.
Yeah, there's a lot of contention.
Oh, here we go. It's my favourite card, everyone.
Sav's favourite. The number 1 All-Star. Wes' favourite
very
right now
excited.
Too. I'd almost clamp that Mum, I reckon.
Who needs that?
What's it doing? Save that mana's... Because this junk list has a lot of good 3-drops. And
absolutely.
Oh, he's doing it. Yep. So clamping the Mum.
It's not every day you say clamp the Mum, but there it is. It just happened.
What did you do on Saturday? Glance me mum.
I think this is meant to be a G-rated show, so we apologise for that comment. And we have an end of turn fetch from Cameron. So this could be something. It could be an Is It charm. It could be something just to do a little bit of drawing and digging at the end of the turn, possibly.
Or as Cam wrote it, Fizzle charm. Cameron Bird's handwriting was pretty difficult to understand.
Definitely, he's got a unique list and he's got a unique handwriting style. So if we mispronounce any of the names, you probably know why that is.
I'm just reading through some of them now. Shrek Alloy, Besiju Who Told Me So, Freeze Town.
These are all staples in Highlander.
Docs, some really good cards there.
We might see some of that come out of the sideboard.
Look, I'm really hoping to know what some of these are, so I can piece together where this handwriting came from. But no, it's an interesting list. He's got Vamp, Tutor on 3
so what are his
points.
What are his other points? We'll come back to the Tutor.
It's really interesting. So Force of Will.
Yep, I guess it's an essential when you're protecting a combo.
Vamp, Tutor, as I said. Dig Through Time, which I really like because he's going to be mulching and putting a lot of cards in the bin, and he should be able to hit that delve. And
Absolutely.
obviously, it's got that search variety. I think that's really smart. Muddle the Mixture. Oh, I don't know about it, but he likes it.
Well, here comes out a card that's not a point, but pretty damn good in this list. It's
Common
Show and Tell.
Common Misconception, and we know he's got that Iona.
So if Iona does come out, if he elects to pop that out, what do you name here? Do you name the colour of the removal?
I think so. I think you name black.
Possibly, you might even name white. It depends. He probably has a Snuff Out.
Yeah, Snuff Out, Path to Exile.
So you're probably more dense on the white removal, I assume.
Yeah, not 100% sure what he's running. A lot of these lists on Slaughter Packs as well.
Yeah, this is true. Oh, here we go. Oh, and he's put Jin-Gataxias out
instead.
I think there we go.
That's fine.
Very nice. That's going to be very punishing to the slow start Jund because he's got some equipment out, but he's got to get a creature out here because otherwise they're all going to go to the bin.
The other spicy thing point is Oath of Druids.
Nice.
And that really forces you to build a specific way because there's a lot of good creatures which help with the Reanimate style, but he's elected not to play them. He said, look, there's enough really good cards in that are available to me in Highlander. I don't need the creatures. I can play Frantic Search and Thirst for Knowledge and stuff like that. And I'm just going to get that Oath of Druids to be really quality.
Oh, there it is! We were just discussing the colours of removal, weren't we? So he has that, they're all singletons, but he has that one, Snuff Out.
I'd be more than happy paying 4 life for that one.
Absolutely. Oh, there it is. he gives us a little sneak, the 1-2 punch from Wes right there. Getting that Snuff Out.
Now he's got a sword out. There's no creature though.
I do wonder here whether he gets to psych out Cameron Bird there on snuffing his big bad guy, because when Cameron does resolve an Iona, reanimate an Iona, and he names a colour,
and here's an Offenser that is very relevant because
it's going to pick up some equipment.
An Offenser is 3 for a 4/4. It's a good clock, especially with equipment, and it also says creatures exile. Do they exile from hands?
They sure do. It's anytime a creature would go to the graveyard, I'll just double check if that's from the battlefield.
It's very relevant. It's one of those slightly hate. It's kind of like Loxodon and Smiter, where it's a bit hateful, but at the end of the day, it's got a really strong body. And Wes is got to be happy with that. And I think Cameron was going to be scared of that Snuff Out for the rest of this match.
Yeah, I mean, if he puts out Iona and he names black because of the fear of Snuff Out, not realizing that there's going to be a Path to Exile, a Swords to Plowshares, a Council's Judgment, Anguished Unmaking, that one checks both categories. So we've got Anafenza. It is put into the opponent's graveyard from anywhere.
There you go.
Very nice.
And Cameron Bird has just played Muddle the Mixture. For those who don't know, that's actually worth 1 point.
It's a transmute for 3, right?
The most powerful spell, and a lot of you might not have heard it. And they point search spells because the things that they search for are often very broken. So
he's probably searching for Oath of Druids, is that right? So 1 point searching for another point?
Yeah.
But in the pinch, he could search for Dig Through Time.
It's a lot of mana, but if if you're playing a very combo heavy deck, then it's okay. You see Muddle the Mixture in
anything with time vault,
Tinker
right?
Time Vault decks.
Yeah.
A good call from Sarv there. It is the Oath of Druids.
There it is. So he still has to cast it into a
gotta
deck that
protect
runs
it.
Abrupt Decay and that kind of thing. Counts as Judgment, Anguish, Unmaking, all this kind of stuff that can nab that Oath of Druids.
Now, is he running, Cameron Bird running counter spells? He's got a mana link in the main board.
Right.
I found it really interesting. He runs counter spell in the sideboard, Dispel, Spell Snare, Flusterstorm, Hydroblast, Arrest,
a lot of counter spells on the side.
Pyroblast. So he's got a lot to protect post sideboard.
But he wants to keep his mana leak in the main for the I guess the color restriction. Is that right? Because usually mana leak is counter spell.
Got a lot of colours working in there. It's almost a
evasive maneuvers even.
5-color deck, really.
Practically.
Not much white, but he could run. I haven't looked thoroughly, but Unburial Rites might be in his list.
Oh, okay, this is a bad sign for the Reanimator player when the junk player doesn't even equip his Anafenza and beats in. It means something worse is coming. And that's an Eldritch Evolution.
Oh, that's interesting. I don't know about that.
I like keeping Anafenza here.
I like just equipping it up. That's a great clock. It gets in for 6 and then pings for 2. And equipped to the Skull Clamp, that's 9 damage. That's 2 turns and he's dead.
This is true. I mean, is he worried? Is he trying to get because he's got 1 mana left up. He didn't even clamp it, so he's keeping 1 mana open for a Khazali Pride Mage activation on the Oath of Druids. It seems a bit defensive.
Yeah, I reckon I would have equipped there. 9 damage, you draw
there it is.
card.
There's a Khazali Pride Mage. So he does have the 1 mana open.
But you don't even need to do it now, because Cameron plays the Oath, then you get the turn.
Yeah,
so if you equip there, you bash for 9, bash again, that's lethal, and then you can Eldritch and blow.
Absolutely. I like that play better. I think he's just being a little bit conservative here because he doesn't want... he doesn't know what's coming out of Cam's deck in case there is a counter spell for his Eldritch Evolution or something like that.
But even if there is, then you get blown out by that counter spell.
This is true.
So, yeah, I'm not sure about that one.
But let's see what threat's coming out. Sensei's Divining Top. Very nice for the control-esque, combo-esque deck here. But I don't know how much time he has against an Exalted, possibly, 3/3, 4/2, +2/2 from the sword as well. You've got a 6 power guy beating in and shooting you, shocking you for 8 a turn. So he's got to find something quick off that Sensei's Divining Top. Another card that is often mistaken for a point. Sensei's Divining Top is not a point.
They're thinking about pointing it just because it takes a lot of time.
True, just like the modern...
Such a fun card to play, though.
Absolutely. It's very skill-intensive. Nice to have in a format like this.
I'm wondering if Ways had just gone big and then Eldritch for the Titania. Eldritch lets you search for... It's like a birthing pod trigger, but you can go for 2 up and anything lower than that. So he could have got Titania, which we're talking
2 up
about
and 2 down, right?
Round 1, we saw that do a lot of work in round 1. And, that could definitely close the game up pretty quick. That'd present lethal, I reckon, next
Absolutely.
turn. So.
Absolutely. It's possible that this happens a lot in Highlander. The Anafenza exile clause on it is often just forgotten. It's really only when you're staring down a Skull Clamp and the opponent shakes their hand at you when you try to go to draw 2 cards. That's when you realise Anafenza really does a lot of work in this format.
It's also got another little... when it attacks, you can put a +1 counter on a tapped creature. Not super relevant, but just another little trick. Get a little bit of extra damage in mid-range matchups especially.
Absolutely. So clearly Cameron Bird's found something that he likes because he's activating his top and he's going for an Animate Dead, I believe that is. It's the alternate art on Animate Dead. And that's why Wes kept the mana open. He wanted to have both the Khazali Pride Mage active and to have Swords to Plowshares. And that's absolutely brutal for Cameron.
So it's gaining him a bit of life, though.
So that will be life off power, and Jingataxis is about 4 power or something along those lines. That's gaining 4 or 5. So he's going up to 17. And
now I reckon you want to equip.
Is this time to suit up? Because he didn't get Cameron didn't get a chance to play his Oath of Druids, so you've got an extra turn of grace. Yeah.
Because equipping to Clamp and then sacrificing the Pride Mage, you trigger the Pride Mage and you get 2 cards off the Clamp. It's really nice. we were talking in the last round as well about Pride Mage, and I just find it's a common. You don't see it much in other formats, but it's an absolute powerhouse in this. It's so versatile. It presents
absolutely.
threats. Yeah, it's one of my favorite cards.
Absolutely. Next to Coiling Oracle, I would say.
And next to Clamp. And they all work well together. All three of them.
I think we just built a deck, didn't we? So there's Wes holding open some mana as well, so he's obviously ready to go for that oath. It's possible that Cameron here has to just play that oath to get rid of a creature on the board so it doesn't connect again.
Yeah, it doesn't feel good, does it?
No.
But, I'd be scared if I was Wes still.
Anything could happen
It's
against
not
the
too hard
combo
to
deck.
just Faithless Looting a Grizzlebrand and then animate it again. There's a lot of animate stuff. We've got Exhume. We've got the Animate Dead. We've got Dance of the Dead, which is very similar to Animate Dead. This deck it's got the gas for it.
Absolutely, and he's just cast one of the best cards in this deck, Frantic Search.
One of the best cards ever printed, I reckon.
Lovely.
It's banned in Legacy, and it's legal in Vintage, but it doesn't see a huge amount of play, so people don't know it. It's dirt cheap.
Yeah,
fantastic card.
Brilliant. Look at what he just did. He just basically, for free, after untapping those lands, just got the chance to draw 2 cards and pitch a Sphinx of the Steel Wind.
Best part of all, Sav, is you get to untap those 3 lands. So.
And a reanimation spell coming up, alright? That's what we would hope for the Reanimator player. But it might just be the Oath. Let's see. Here it is. Here's another reanimation spell. Yep. Is that Dance of the Dead? Looks to me like 4 skeletons in hoods dancing around.
I think it could be. It's pretty much Animate Dead, guys. It's a 2-mana enchantment. And I think it's got a clause about tapping.
Something like it doesn't untap, so you normally, so you have to pay mana to untap it. So usually irrelevant.
Yeah, look, I'd pay 2 mana to untap a Grizzlebrand, or in this case, a Sphinx of the Steel Wind. Sphinx of the Steel Wind, 8 mana artifact creature, 6/6 vigilant lifelink vigilant lifelink pro red pro green, which is pretty relevant.
Yeah,
a lot of artifact
relevant.
destruction is like Pride Mage, Quasali Pride Mage.
Pride Mage can't target it. Very
it's
nice.
got pro green and
I believe the Dance of the Dead stays on the creature. If that is Dance of the Dead, we could be mistaken, but it could be a different reanimation spell.
Yeah, and there's a lot of old art, even Exhume or something. I don't think it is.
This is
Dance
awkward.
of the Dead.
This is very awkward. So Wes has attacked with a creature that Cameron believed he could block because it has protection from green. However, with the Sophie, it also has protection from Sphinx of the Steel Wind. So a little bit awkward. However, they're going to get to shuffle up, and I think post-sideboard, things get very interesting here. We have a number of cards, including Dops, Boggart, or Who Shall Not, and a number of
Strangled Cannabit.
Yeah,
one of my favourite.
We can't read all of the cards in the list, but we've tried to decipher them.
Spell Siren. Obviously coming in.
I believe that's a definite shoe in here. So of the cards that we can read, I assume that none of the counter spells really come in here, aside from Dispel, possibly against a Path to Exile, Swords to Plowshares, and Snuff Out. Anguished Unmaking, those kind of protect your...
Yeah, I think that's a spell snare. And I reckon he's got that for the counter spell decks. I can't see him bringing a lot. Ancestral Visions is in there, and that's usually quite good against mid-range, but I almost think that's better for the control matchup, because he's not really ever going to outvalue Wes, is he?
No, I think here he can't play the value game unless he's got a Jin Cataxius, of course. Really here, he's just looking to jam the combo really fast. He's going to reanimate something.
It's a good point.
ASAP.
He's got Nullrod, and your initial thought is, Nullrod, that Wes is playing Stoneforge and all these equipments, and I'll get him, but do you just want to...
I think you ignore him.
Get the combo out is the best thing,
absolutely.
You're switching off your own top. I don't know how relevant that is, but I think you just want to get there fast. A lot of people dilute their main board in trying to sideboard, and especially if they're playing combo decks. Oh, I don't know if I'd bring anything in here, to be honest with you.
It's quite a push. I mean, is there anything bad here? I think he's really when in game one he's really streamlined to jam the combo, and he has a counter spell or two there. So
I think he's favoured game one. I think he got a bit unlucky.
It didn't work out for him, and
the
you can see the
snuff out.
MVPs there, and of what the reverse MVPs you might say of what Wes is taking out, and he's also being very kind to the camera and showing us what he's bringing in. He's bringing in Rest in Peace, and some hand disruption.
I'll pay that.
Yep, that's going to be very difficult. I mean, the other issue against that plan is that Cameron's deck does attack on a variety of angles. I mean, it attacks from the hand when you've got the show and tell. It attacks from the deck. You've got Oath of Druids. Yeah. So it's possible that
you can't really Graph Diggers, because Graph Diggers Cage, stuff like that, it doesn't actually hit show and tell, and it doesn't it doesn't hit sneak attack. So I don't know if he's running sneak attack, but yeah, you can't just play Graph Diggers and sit back on it.
Absolutely.
Especially with mental missteps in the format. That's another interesting point, is mental missteps in the format. And Cameron Bird's running Vamp, Pyrrhic Tutor.
So what do you think about those 3 points?
That's a lot of points.
It's very harsh, given that it's a 1 mana tutor that is a slow tutor as well. I mean, I
don't even run it in my vintage list because I'm sick and tired of getting misstepped, and I'm sick and tired of losing the card advantage if I resolve it, and then what I searched for gets countered. And
absolutely,
I'd be interested to ask him.
He's just taken out 2 cards, so he is going the Null Rod Ancestral Visions plan, but he's taken out 2 cards that he believes are irrelevant. I think
fair.
I think that's fine. I mean, it's one of those matches where he really doesn't want to change much. I'm far more familiar with being on the junk side of this matchup. Every time I'm sitting there against the combo decks, I draw my hand and I go turn 1 Llanowar Elves, turn 2 Corsair Kruphix, and I say to myself, why am I playing this dumb guy? this stupid 3 mana
You're off
2/4.
to the races with
Here we go, beating with the 2 power.
Alive.
Yeah, I'm gaining life up the wazoo, and I think to myself, why am I playing this guy? And then you get to play those junk mirrors, and you just revel in getting to draw Corsair and play him straight away. That's why he's there. But
you can always side him out.
That's it. I can't side him out fast enough against these combo decks. You just have so much going for you in the sideboard.
I think Wes is favoured here, but I've played junk against a lot of combo, and I'm never comfortable. Never feel comfortable. I think looking back here from this perspective, I favour Wes. He won game 1, and he's got such a better sideboard plan. But
if you had to put your money on someone, the person going first, I would go for the combo deck.
I'm going for Wes. I reckon those duresses are going to get there, but whether or not it pans out, and as you say, stupid things like Corsair just feel really dumb in your hand.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you might find that the Vampiric Tutor, could be a nice hedge against discard. Maybe he wants to protect something. He vamps at the end of turn, or even Mind Sensor. Now that is going to be a beating. If he manages to land that off a turn 1 Dork, here we go. We've got Inquisition of Kozilek coming out turn 1, and he's probably going to snap off that Rest in Peace.
Yeah, wow. But it's a great hand.
Yeah.
Snuff out as well. Nice. And the Stoneforge. That's a really nice hand.
Looking at the hand, if that had a turn 1 mana dork, I think he could almost not lose.
Could say that about a lot of things.
Very true. So, obviously, we think he's going to take Rest in Peace here, but is there any argument here to taking Aven Mind Sensor, depending on what your...
There's even an argument to take Snuff out if he just has that turn 2, because Wes isn't going to drop Rest in Peace yet, and Cameron could have Show and Tell. You could just take Snuff out and say, you know what, I've got the turn 2 bomb.
I'd like to ignore your Rest in Peace, please.
I can play Chrome Mox, I can play a land, and I can Faithless Looting, reanimate it.
That'd definitely be a nice alternative to what's going to happen. But I mean, one of the issues here is obviously, as much as we love to think Snuff Out costs 0, because it really does for us, it actually costs 4, so he's not even going to be able to take that, even if he wanted
That's
to.
a great point.
Mm.
I always forget that.
I think it costs 0 too.
Force of Wills is a zero CMC card, right?
Until it flips off Bob, and you go, "Why am I playing Bob in my Force of Will deck?"
Wow.
Oh, look at that.
Now that
So
is
that-
interesting because
So
surely you take the Rest in Peace.
is he just afraid of Skullclamp value? Is his plan
When
to just?
when you put that Visions and Noah in the sideboard, though, you think he's saying, "Oh, I'm happy to go mid-range. I'm happy to go a bit later." But the Rest in Peace is gonna stick around. It's hard for a
This is true.
deck like that to get rid of Rest in Peace.
Now, given the colours of this deck, does it have a Nature's Claim or something to get rid of that Rest in Peace? Because
I'll have a look. I don't think I actually saw it.
oh, here we go. It's a swan song.
Swan song.
It's a swan.
Well, Cameron.
Now he next leveled us.
Yes. Kudos to you, Cameron.
Nice
Bird.
work. And
With the
now he's
brainstorm to
brainstorming end of turn. So it's possible he has a fetch lane in hand and he just wants to pop it away. But personally, I think normally I'd hold that brainstorm until a little bit later. But to me, I think that Cameron's just trying to jam something quick. He's on the quick plan. He wants to untap, have the perfect hand, and go for it.
The other thing is, it's almost a 3-color combo when you run, Careful Study and Faithless Setting and Frantic Search. You can go 1 mana or Frantic Search, discard your bomb, and then the 2 mana to animate. So that 1 mana might be really relevant.
Very true. Very true. So this is probably the big decision point, because once we go a little bit longer and he's still got that duck on the other side flapping over, the clock will start to speed up.
Flapping with a City Brass out, that's a decent flap.
Yep. So this is probably go time this turn or next turn. Something's going to happen. All right, here we go. We're off to the races with a Frantic Search. This is pretty big. The untap, the discard Elish Norn. Does he have a plan for the duck? Did he mind giving the duck when he's going to give it -2/-2?
Who cares about a duck when I have an Elish Norn? Other cool thing about the duck is, it's really just a bit cute, but the duck's nice with the Oath of Druids.
Very true. I had
in the
not
control
thought about that
matchup,
one.
you bring it in, or I think you might even have a main board and
Nice.
you give him a duck.
Give him a duck. And here we go. We've got a Dig Through Time. If he doesn't find the reanimation spell off this, they're going to be all at the bottom of the deck. He has to find something off here. This is
he
really
keeps the Elish Norn.
The
Frantic Search looking really nice as well.
Yes.
I mean, wow, what a card. And he surely just runs Reanimate the card, which is 1 mana.
It's going to be. He could hit that right now, and we're going to pretty much be going
still
game
there,
over.
though?
Very good point. This is where...
Maybe just get it out of the hand.
Yeah. So he's selected one. He went straight for that card. So clearly that's going to be... I feel like it's a reanimation spell, but he's getting the second card now, which was a bit more tentative.
There's a Thoughtseize in there as well. He could just be going for that Thoughtseize. And there's Daze.
Oh, that would be a nice blowout. So let's look at this. He's going... Yep, he's already going to the graveyard before casting Reanimate. There it is.
Reanimate.
Wow.
So he's got to pay, I think, the life equal to the CMC, which is 7. So it's a relevant life total.
The duck would do work if it stuck around.
The duck is not stuck.
All right. Off it goes, and now if Wes is afraid of Daze, he will not snuff out right now.
No, there's no reason to snuff out here. He's thinking about it.
Just untap, and
here it comes. Wesy Woo, you got lucky, buddy.
All right. I always live in fear of Daze. Even though there is only one in this format, I play around Daze like there's no tomorrow.
And that's what's so good about it.
So we've untapped, and this is your lovely Anafenza mana, but unfortunately it's a pass. So actually taking that Stoneforge Mystic did a lot of work, didn't it?
Yeah, I think it was correct from Cameron. He's played this really well.
That was not on our radar. We even were looking at the other cards in the hand. So
and the Elish Norn's still on the bin for another reanimate spell here.
Absolutely.
It's not being exiled, so yeah, I think Cameron's played this really well.
Absolutely. So what happens now? Do you think it's a 2-mana reanimation spell? Because he was tentative with the... And we have an Exhume. So it is going to let him return that Stoneforge Mystic.
which immediately dies, but still gets that
Which
trigger.
dies, yes. This is a very good point.
So Exhume is 2 mana reanimate, but your opponent gets to reanimate as well. And here they go. Obviously, they've only got one target each.
And the state-based effect will put that guy back in the graveyard. But, I mean, this is where...
I don't think equipment does much.
No. I mean,
he doesn't run Strangleroot Geist. Sarvan runs Strangleroot Geist in his junk list, and it's really good.
Can you just imagine if he... Imagine in this situation if you untapped and you got the Skull Clamp here, and you went Strangleroot Geist,
dead.
Skull Clamp. Oh. There, you got me. I just got. So,
you got.
Elesh Norn doing a lot of work against the creature deck. Who would have thought?
But I think last game, actually, I was considering, like, because he had all those, he had the sword out from the Shaman's Hill. I was like, Strangleroot Geist would be interesting here. Going 2 mana Strangleroot, 2 mana Equip, and getting in there.
So what he needs is a creature that has more than 2 toughness to hold all these equipments. He's tapping 4. Well, you know what 4 means. Siege Rhinos on the floor.
It's good.
That life total.
Yeah,
look at that.
It's relevant.
So going down to 8, I mean, when he does have a Sword of Fire and Ice in hand, and if he rips a land off the top next turn, that's a big Rhino.
Well, it's a 4/5 Rhino to a 4/7, but it blocks. It blocks the Elesh Norn.
It does block. So Elesh Norn Vigilant coming in there for 4.
And the Elesh Norn's +2/+2 isn't going to do a whole lot. I think it's -2/-2 is going to stop.
It'll pull weight.
Silly little dorks.
Absolutely. He's really all in on the Siege Rhino now. I mean, unless he draws an Anafenza or something that has 3 toughness or more, it's going to be very difficult. He's shocking.
There's always swords.
Yeah.
No.
True. So he shocks down to 13. And he gets to equip, assuming there's no mana leak or some such on the other side. I mean, he's probably thinking to himself, do I even mana leak if I had it? I mean, do I just let you have that? But there is a threat that the Rhino gets equipped, suited up with a variety of different equipments, and gets to trample over that Elesh Norn at some point.
Yeah, I mean, if he gets rid of the Elesh Norn at any point now, the Rhino only needs to get in for 1, really, and that's lethal damage, so...
Oh, and we have an Entomb. So this is... I mean, I'm very familiar with sitting in the junk player's position here, and I'm scared. Because he's entombing something big. He's got a plan. Now this is...
Where's all out of 0 mana spells?
Unfortunately, no mental misstep here. So Wes' life total is actually 13. That can be relevant. Just the Temple Garden shock forgotten. So Elesh Norn is presenting a nice clock, but the Rhino can block.
9/9 Grizzlebrand though, wow.
Have you ever attacked with a 9/9 Grizzlebrand lifelink?
I haven't. It's usually done its work as a 7/7 to be honest.
It's going to be very interesting here.
We're just assuming it's coming in.
I think we're used to that, aren't we?
Yeah.
Sitting on the other side of the table and knowing we can't do anything to their anything that's not on the board.
Did he just pass go?
Yeah, I guess Elesh Norn can't beat through the Rhino that has 5 toughness.
Necromancy is an instant speed reanimate or something like that.
Yeah, that could be spicy. But here we have Umezawa's Jitter. So just like we were saying before about suiting up this Rhino, it could get quite big.
Path to Exile here is pretty much done.
I mean, he just beats here to get some counters on the Jitter, is that right?
That's a stretch. I don't know about that, because you're essentially losing the sword's ability, right?
This is true, but the Rhino doesn't die, does it? It just gets
That's
counters.
true. That's very true.
So it's a 4/5. It's normal power and toughness right now.
Yeah.
That illegible dice over there says 2 counters. So it is actually threatening to pump next turn and trample over that Elesh Norn, which will be a bit scary. So Ponder from Cameron Bird, trying probably desperately now to look for some reanimation spell.
It's interesting the way Cameron's played this, where he's just gone, you know what, I always want to get Grizzlebrand, so I'm going to entomb Grizzlebrand now. I don't need to mess around. Grizzlebrand's my guy. He's going in the bin. He doesn't care about things like scavenging ooze, though.
That's interesting because I mean, as soon as he dumped that in the graveyard, I just assumed there'd be a reanimation spell. But he's looking into the future.
He's assuming what he's done, and he did the same thing with the in game 1, where he's really working out that mana. He's really utilizing it. Stuff like Vamp Tutor at the end of turn is another one that he could be doing.
Absolutely. So he gets another land, and he does attack in with Vigilance. So that life total will read 9 because it's he's taking 4, and he was actually 2 lower before. And this is where the invisible hand comes off and corrects that life total to 9. Oh, it's 8 now after the fetch land. And
that's 2 bashes.
I mean,
although Jitte's pretty good.
Well, you just attack and you pump with the Jitter and you get to trample over. I mean, that's pretty scary. Now we have a more legible dice there on 2 counters. So our Rhino being a normal 4/5 with the sword, getting pumped twice, becoming 8 power, you're going to get to trample him for 1 damage.
That's really relevant, and you get that sword trigger.
Getting a trigger is good here. So blocks, obviously, because if he doesn't block, he dies. That's correct.
Yeah, you got to block.
So they're just doing the math now, and he's deciding whether or not to spend the counters. But yeah, that's that. That's all she wrote, and he gets the counters back. So 1 trample damage and a sword trigger.
Yeah, they might have forgotten the sword trigger here.
If we're moving to the fetch land crack, then we'll assume that the sword trigger has been forgotten. If it did, I mean, he would be in an amazing position already. And here we go. There's the Aven Mind Sensor off.
He knew about that, didn't he?
He did from the beginning.
It was a while ago, but he did know about it.
I do feel like he has to crack it anyway.
I'd forgotten.
Yeah, absolutely. I feel like even if he knows, he has to crack because he's not going to win without just getting a lucky hit off that.
And he pondered as well, so he doesn't like what's on top.
It's a good point, just shuffling. Yeah, sometimes you just need to shuffle. I think he actually shuffled off the ponder anyway, but we'll find out now. I mean, he whiffs on the search, but what does he need here to actually stabilize? Because that Rhino is really looking very scary.
I wonder how much removal Cameron's running. Can he just deal with that Rhino with a simple Swords to Plowshares? It doesn't look like he's running much, to be honest. He's pretty all in on that combo.
Fair enough. It does seem fair to not dilute that combo. I mean,
it's too late for Nullrod as well now.
It is, and it's. I mean, a cryptic command or something like that would buy him time, but missing off that land and having some kind of big out like that to buy you time and draw cards.
Grizzlebrand's in the bin though.
Getting a lifelinker is good. So that's a Chromox expedition, lovely. Exiling the big tutor, demonic tutor 5/6 or 5/5.
Yeah, it's a Runescarred demon.
Big flying guy.
Big flying guy. I don't love him. 7 mana, he's a threat, but for 7 mana, I'd rather just win the game rather than search for something that wins the game.
I see times where he's good, chaining him into more reanimation spells is nice.
Or maybe a sideboard card. That's fair enough.
And there's the handshake. So that Rhino was really absolutely key in this matchup. Having that more than 2 toughness to be able to get around Elish Norn and having trample. Very, very important. But I think that's all from this matchup because that's a 2-0 to Wes.
Yeah, so scary times, but the junk deck's consistency gets there.
That's right. I really was worried at the beginning, being on the receiving end of this matchup in the past, and it's very tricky. But Wes navigated it well.
I think another interesting point is Cameron didn't get blown out. He was still able to cast his show and tell in game 1. He was still able to put things in the bin and reanimate them, but for whatever reason, it just didn't work out. Yeah. So, Cameron's game plan still worked. It just wasn't enough.
It was a very interesting match. So, thank you all for watching, and we'll be back shortly with round 3 for you.
All right, thanks, guys. See ya.